Hi, welcome to the Bi-Weekly Show. I am Kyle Schickner. And initially when we had developed the Bi-Weekly Show, it was going to be a half-hour show on logo. And one of the segments we're going to have each week was an interview. We're going to interview people in the bi community, artists, activists, people who had something to do with the bi community or the LGBT community that somehow related to the bi world, or people who didn't like bisexuals perhaps and had something to say. I'm looking at you, Dan Savage. And that was the idea. One of the segments was going to be that. And when I started doing this for Equality TV, I wanted to keep that sort of going. I wanted to sort of make sure that it wasn't all about me. And I probably have never said that sentence in my life, but I don't want it to be all about me. And I wanted to sort of profile it and do some interviews with people. The first, and I was always wanting to be one-on-one. And I had plans on going up and talking with Robyn Ochs up in Boston, who has been a bi activist long before I was around. She was one of the 3 or 4 that inspired me in college to say, hey, I need to get involved with this. I need to, this is important. We're not being heard. And she certainly was someone who demanded to be heard, and I really respected and sort of, I love that. And I was going to go up to her and talk with her this summer. And, it's funny because those who know me have often heard me railing about we need the younger generation. Our generation's failed to reach out to the younger generation. And here it's funny, the first person I'm going to profile is going to be Robyn, who's been, like I said, who's been in the bi movement since the very beginning. But I also, I want to be clear. I'm not sort of, I think that it's important that there are the iconic people in every movement, and Robyn is certainly one of those. She's, in my mind, one of the holy trinity in the bi community. Her, Lorraine, and Lonnie. And I was going to do something later on in the year with her, but she wrote me and she reached out to me. She's doing something which I think is it's exciting and it's important. But there was a deadline to it, and it's coming up at the end of June. As everyone knows, Robyn does speaking around the country and around the world about queer issues, bisexual issues, dealing with that. And go to RobynOchs.com because it's much more clear as to what she does than what I'm explaining here. Because I only have a short amount of time, and I can go on for hours, as people who know me know. But she has been put together anthologies about women's writing. I think she has, she's got a weekly or a monthly. I don't even know. It's not a newsletter. It's not a fanzine, but it's an anthology of women's writing and bisexual women's writing. Well, this is not the clearest I've ever done. And she was going to do, and she once did an issue with men, and apparently she was going to do another one, and that was getting a lot of really great response. So much so that she has decided that she wants to put together a book, a bi men's anthology, and she's been collecting really amazing writing, fiction, poems, artwork from bi men around the country, around the world, perhaps. And she wants to get now that they've brought it up to a book situation. They are calling and looking for more. The bi men are so obviously diverse. We have so many voices; it's impossible. So she wants to get as much as much diverse material out there. So the deadline, if you are a bi man out there and you're watching and you want to contribute for your own feeling of being a part of it, for helping out somebody, for whatever you want to do, send it to her. The deadline is, she said, June 30th. Again, poems, fiction, essays, artwork. I don't know if any photography, anything you want to send her. You can go to, again, RobynOchs.com. There's some information on there for that. And she, it's funny because when you think bisexual men, the first thing that pops to mind is Robyn Ochs. And she, and we were talking the other day, and she had said one of the reasons she hadn't done this sooner is because she kept waiting and hoping somebody else would. And I really commend her for saying, okay, look, I'm not the bisexual men out there for whatever reason aren't doing it, but it needs to be It needs to be done. And so she's finally said, look, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to put it out there, and then and it is our responsibility, and as bi men to sort of say, okay, this is great, let's build on this. As a feminist, I'm always the first. No, not the first, but I'm certainly in line with people saying that, as a man in this culture, we have it pretty easy. But I will say this: I think bisexual men are. It's interesting. By no means do I think it's easier. It's harder. I mean, but there's a certain extra invisibility that bi men have. I mean, people all the time are saying bisexual men don't exist. Bisexual women exist. I worked with a woman yesterday, a friend of mine of many years, who identifies as bisexual. She's not necessarily political about it, but she identifies as bisexual. She's known me for years. We met actually at a bi conference up in Boston. And her feeling, and she said it again, is, I don't believe in bi men, which, I wanted to, emotionally strangle her. But I think that's a common thread that we hear, and that's our fault. I mean, a lot of that is our fault. I mean, the trinity that I talked about: Lonnie, Robyn, Lorraine, women. It's harder to find men in the bi movement, and there are them. I'm certainly not saying there's not. I mean, obviously Fritz Klein. Well, I want to talk about him in a few weeks. Ron Fox. And I don't want to start listing because I'm going to miss some. Because there are some, and they've done great work, and they've done great work for years. I know Tom Lemicelli was, keeping up the in New Jersey and New York for a number of years in the 90s, the whole bi movement. So I'm not suggesting that we as bi men aren't doing what we need to do. Perhaps because there is that feeling of we don't exist, that it is harder for us to get a foothold. I certainly have not tried to. I don't necessarily put myself on the same level as Lonnie or Robyn or Fritz or any of those. So this anthology, I think, is a great step in the right direction. Because I hate reading an article in the LA Times, New York Times, about how bi men don't exist. I don't get it. I hate it. And so again, I am excited about the anthology. I will be contributing. I will be submitting. I don't know if it'll be good enough for Robyn and the people that she's doing it with to accept it, but I will be submitting. And again, I encourage every man watching, hearing my voice, just put something out, even if you don't think it's good. The sort of the first anthology about bisexuals, by any other name, our Bible, changed my world. It changed my view, changed my life. And it would be really great for us men to help contribute to perhaps changing a 17-year-old boy's life, or a 21-year-old boy's life, or a 45-year-old man's life who's just coming out. And knowing that we are not one thing is so important. And that's what that By Any Other Name gave me. Finding things like, oh, that's not me, this is me, that's not me, oh, this is all of us. And I think this anthology is a big step in that direction. And again, I thank Robyn for that. I will be hopefully sitting down with her to interview her about a number of things. We definitely come at things from a different wavelength. But again, I think it's important that we don't necessarily see eye to eye. Our tactics aren't ever usually the same, but she's been very, very supportive of my work, and I want to do the same to her, because we're all trying to make this a better world for bi folk, and when that happens, it's a better world for the LGBT folk, and when that happens, it is a better world for the world. So, did I put too much of an emphasis on how important this is? I don't know, but go RobynOchs.com, submit your stuff, and again, I'm about a little over a month into this. I still haven't heard from Mark Burnett from Survivor. I've been working out. And by working out, I mean I've been going to the kitchen. I've been getting some cold pizza and I've been eating it. I hate rice. I hate fish, but I would win Survivor, and I want to be the first bi male on Survivor, out bi male. So if you know anyone, write them, call them, let them know, get this guy on. I'm not going to give it up. I'm going to do this forever until I'm on it. All right. Have a great week.